everyone. Dr. Andrea here. Welcome to our weekly live lesson. For those that don't know me, my name is Dr. Andrea, and I am the founder of the Kingdom Business Leadership Network. And what we do there is that we work with kingdom leaders and entrepreneurs, business folk, and we teach and train how to grow and develop your platform, actually monetize that platform as well. And we also have a strong emphasis on hearing the voice of God and walking strongly in your spiritual gifts. So if that's content that you want to hear more about, definitely click the link in and around this video so you can find out more and connect with us in our free private Facebook group, or you can look us up and find out more information about our paid mastery group, all sorts of things. So today this month, we are talking about, and I'm going to write it in here, we are talking about customer acquisition. And acquisition is this huge word, but it's talking about getting more customers. So let me type this in here. I always forget to do this. And now acquisition is like the spelling. Y'all know I use a spell checker. So let's see if I can get this. As you come in, if you're watching a replay, put replay in as well. Okay, let's see if this works. Did I spell it right? Aquisition, AQUISITION. And I had two I's. Okay. Spell check did not leave me down. Customer acquisition 101 is what we are talking about today. There we go. So like I said, acquisition is just a complex word to say how you're going to get your customers. And this is so very important. Because if you, and then if you're a nonprofit or a ministry, you can replace customers with participants, whatever. It's the same strategies. So this today in this live lesson, I'm just going to introduce the topic, and we're going to go deeper as we go throughout the month. So this week, we're going to be talking about customer acquisition 101. So very basic about what goes into that. And then we're going to next week talk about discovering and defining where your customer actually lives, where they're at, the channels and the systems. And then the last 2 weeks, we're just going to go into different strategies to get customers. And I'm going to talk about some of those strategies today. And then, of course, our mastery folks, you guys know we have a mastery, really like a mastermind type group where they pay monthly, and they get extra master classes, 2 master classes, one with a spiritual bent foundation, another one that goes deeper into what we're doing so they can implement. Also, they have challenges, community, accountability, all types of things. We do a prophetic prayer call, a bunch of stuff. So you guys are going to have a masterclass on these strategies, and then we're going to talk about how you're graced for this and how people are assigned to you in your business. But we're going to do all of that, and it should be in your Facebook group, the calendar, and you'll get an email with it as well. But this is something that we have to really get a hold to, because if you are in business, you're in business to have people connect with your brands, connect with your organizations. And so we have to have ways or strategies to actually get them to do that. And it's not like it just happens organically. Yes, that's true, but we need to be intentional about these things. So that's what we're talking about the whole month. So, which is really good, because sometimes we develop these brands, we develop these platforms and these businesses, and we launch to crickets, right? Because we didn't have a great strategy on pulling people in. And yes, there's a period of developing brand awareness. So you might not have a huge audience, which is fine. But we need to be intentional. Like, okay, these are the strategies that I'm using to get leads or people to connect with me. And then from there, I'm doing this, and then I'm doing this, and, and so we need to get into that mindset of doing that and being that way. So that's what we're going to talk about the whole entire month. So we have in the mastery group, I was going to do a lead magnet challenge, but I'm thinking I'm going to hold off on that until June. Just with the way my schedule is, this is graduation month. And when you are involved in schools, this is like the most hectic and crazy month that we have. So I think for me, like I was going to do it for you guys this month, but it was just like, that's not even smart. So let's move it to next month where we'll talk about developing a lead magnet and using some of these strategies that we talked about. So as we are talking about customer acquisition, first we got to know, and this is review for a lot of you guys, who's your ideal customer. And this is a working document. Some people call it customer avatar. You need to know that because how are you going to target all of your marketing, target your content, all these things if you don't know who you're actually targeting? So that's why that's the foundation. This is literally the foundation of getting clients and customers. Who is your ideal customer? Where do they hang out? Where are they located? And what do they want? If you can answer those 3 questions, you should not have any issue getting clients and customers, right? And we want to use and let the Holy Spirit speak to us regarding this, because sometimes we just might not know. Last year, I did a bunch of sessions in and around this right at the beginning. So for you guys, you can go back to on YouTube, you can go back to live lessons like 1 through 4. Really, I talked about this. And for those in the mastery group, you can go into the vault and look at the mastery intro course number 1. It should be like targeting your ideal client, targeting your audience, something like that. So the first 2 courses should cover a great deal of this about your basics, about your ideal customer. But we got to realize that having your ideal audience, customer, participants, this is something that you keep on learning about. This is something that it's fluid. You have an idea when you start out, but as you keep going, you massage it, it changes, you update it. So it's a working document. Now, where they hang out and locate, all these questions are working questions and working documents. So you might think they hang out on YouTube or on Facebook, but then you realize, no, they're on LinkedIn. So let me focus all of my content effort to LinkedIn. And y'all know when it comes to marketing, I love content marketing. I believe it's the best. Yes, advertising and things like that are great, but it seems like you always go back to content. So even last month, we talked about systems and strategies, and we went through marketing systems. But your marketing systems are not going to work unless you have a marketing strategy. So for your systems to work, you actually have to start with a strategy and what you're going to do. And sometimes we don't have a good strategy just starting off just because we're just starting out. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just grow into it. You grow into it and you develop it. So, and the same thing with what do they want? At times we think we have the solutions to their pain points and their problems, and we do, but sometimes we don't package it in a way that they want. And that's where you're listening to your audience. Even, if you just have some beta clients or you have your very first few clients, you're still listening. You're asking, you're getting feedback. We talked about customer service strategies last week. And part of that is getting feedback, what they want, what they want changed and all these different things. However that comes, if it's talking to them on the phone, if it is giving them a survey, if you have a smaller group, you just talk to them, and you'll be able to get that information. So let me give you a definition of customer acquisition. It is identifying the best potential leads and setting up the best strategies to convert these people into active customers. So we know that this is a marketing term, but it's first, like we talked about, identifying who your leads are, your best leads, not just anybody, not just people that are kicking tires, your best leads. And then you set up strategies to turn these leads into paying and active. It says active here, but paying and active customers. So last week we talked about customer journey. So you need to know that, and we'll talk about it some more. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, for this this particular lesson, I'm giving a overview of what we're going to be talking about for the whole month. So when we're talking about customer acquisition, I have a few keys. Let's see, I have 5 keys that are going to help you when it comes to getting your clients. We talked about one already. Number one, know your ideal customer, your avatar. And I'll go further. Like I said, if you want really teaching, like individual teaching on all this, go back to live lessons 1 through 4, because this is what we talked about. And probably in that second month, we talked about it too. But you need to know their demographics. Is your brand more suited for men or women or both? We just need to know the niche. We need to know that, and we need to know the psychographics, which are their values, likes, dislikes, and things like that. And like I said, I always have to start there because that is the foundation. If you don't have that, you're just doing stuff, and you're doing stuff like and I hate this thing that people do when they have an event or something. They'll tag like all these people that have larger followings. They'll tag them in their whatever they're promoting so that it will show up on their page. That's probably the worst marketing strategy ever. So many people do it. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. And what you see now is people that have larger followings, they'll I have it on mine where you have to review people that tag you in things before it posts on your actual timeline. So people are getting smarter, when people are getting smarter about that. People are getting smarter about people just adding them to Facebook groups, which I don't think is the best strategy either. I've done it before, but I try to do it for people that might have an interest in what I'm talking about. When you just add your family and friends and different people, that never works, especially if they've never expressed any interest in your brand. Like, let's say you're putting out content. Let's say you're doing live streams, you're doing whatever, and they come to those, then that would be a good probably person to invite to come to the group. But just putting your friends and family and just people, so you have a lot of numbers in your group or Facebook group, is what I'm talking about. That doesn't work. That's not good. Okay. Right. Because they're not necessarily your ideal client or customer. That's just like individuals that have businesses that go live on their personal pages and not from their business page. Yeah, you can go ahead and go live on your business page and share it to your personal page. That's completely fine. But you want to do the other way, because one, you're branding yourself, because when you show it up as a share, people see, oh, she has a business page, so let me like that. I've seen it so many times. I've done it, right? But you're still everybody on your friend list, your family and friends, your friend list is not your ideal customer or participant. So, but it's still good to put that out there just so people, you're branding yourself so that people know the things that you do and what you talk about, because they might know somebody that would be your ideal client, customer, what have you. So I think there's a method to that. And then on the other flip side of that, and we haven't even talked about that, it's illegal for you to be promoting a business on a personal page. That's actually in the face. So it looks like, oh, there's some comments here. Oh, hey, Sharice. I was frozen there for a minute. My internet's been acting crazy. So hopefully I'm not frozen on your side. So yeah, so all those things, I think when you do some of those things, it just shows that that you're a novice when it comes to business and marketing. Or you're more on the hustle side than like the business side, which we want to get out of that, because we don't want hustle money. We want real business money. So if we're selling something, so we don't want to look like a hustle, even if, we feel like that's what we're doing. So anyway, so that's number one foundation to getting customers and clients, is know your ideal customer demographics and psychographics. And this is something you need to revisit on a regular basis. I know it's difficult to do at times, because when you're working in your business, sometimes it's difficult to just step back and be the CEO and work on your business, because a lot of us are doing all the work of the business. We don't necessarily have assistants and things like that. We have contractors, definitely, but we might not necessarily have that right now. So but we have to make the time for it. The second one, I talked about it as well previously. Know your customer's journey. We just talked about this last week. So you can go back. It's live lesson 51 if you're not watching this live. So, and we talked about the customer journey, the different phases, awareness, when you're bringing, or you're having brand awareness, they're aware of that you might have a solution to their problem or their pain point. Evaluation and consideration, basically they're vetting you. Decision, they're still vetting you, but they're vetting you to the point that they're probably going to make a decision. And then we have retention and advocacy. So retention is they became a customer or a client. What do you do to keep them? And then advocacy, you want them to make them, we talked about super fans. We talked about that book by Pat Flynn. You want them to advocate for your brand, send referrals, and do all those things. So that is the textbook customer journey. We need to be intentional about each phase and do things to create those things. So we talked about that at length last week. So if you want to hear more about that, go back to that video. Number 3, third key to customer acquisition or getting customers and clients, research your customer acquisition cost. And what is that? That means how much does it take you? How much money does it take you to get a customer? You see larger companies, 6 and 7 figure businesses, they know this, right? They know how many Facebook ads and what the price per click. They know all these things, so they are able to scale. And I haven't talked about this, but a lot of the reason why some of us aren't scaling as fast as other individuals is simply the money. We don't have thousands of dollars or even $1,000 to put into Facebook ads that's going to get your what you do in front of a lot more eyeballs. Or maybe you do. So you have a large marketing budget that you can pour money into ads. You can pour money into just different types of things that will get more exposure. So that's what we're seeing. It's not necessarily that individuals have a better business concept or a better product and things like that. They just have more money for exposure so that they can get more eyeballs looking at their stuff. And that's why some people's growth is slower, because they might not have the resources to put into advertising and marketing to get more exposure and get their product or their services in front of more people. And I mean, that's just the reality of it. So it's almost like, don't get mad at yourself that you're not growing as fast as this other person, because you don't know how much money that they've put into their brand and getting it in front of different people. You don't know what their Facebook ad spend is, right? They could be spending $1,000 a month to grow their brand. And that's why it's growing really fast, because they're putting the money into it to get it in front of other people, dealing with influencers and just doing all this work that you don't see. They're not going to tell you that, and you're not going to see it unless you are like on Facebook, like, I keep seeing this person's ad. And then I learned that, especially in this online sphere, that's just part of it. Why aren't you growing as fast as some of the other people? You're not necessarily spending the type of money people spend to get their brand in front of other people. Now, there is a place for organic growth, but I think that is, for most people, that's the exception and not the rule. And when you are just simply trying to grow organically, it takes longer. It just does. That's where you have people that 5 and 6, 7 years and it doesn't hit, until 7 years, because you've literally been consistent for 7 years. So now people know you because you've developed that brand awareness. Whereas if you're paying for that brand awareness, getting your brand and getting your products and services, whatever, in front of a lot of eyeballs faster, it's going to be, you're going to have a different result. So what I advise people to do is spend what you can, but spend something, right? If it's $5, $2, whatever it is, don't let it just go by the wayside. And I know that's sometimes what I do, because you have bills, right? You have other things, other expenses that you got to pay for. So sometimes that one just kind of gets pushed down. But the reality is, it's important. So always have a marketing, advertising budget. That is the moral of the story. So I'll get off the soapbox now, because we are almost at the end of our time. So moving on. So need to know your customer acquisition cost. How much does it actually cost to get a customer? And that's in ads. That's in literally sweat equity time. That's in spending money on graphics, whatever it is, you can kind of go back and look and see, okay, how much is it actually costing me? And it's a calculation. So you'll spend the money, you'll spend $1,000 on Facebook ads or something like that, and you get 5 clients out of that. So you can go back and run a calculation and see how much it cost me per client based on what I got. So number 4, know your best customer channels, where you get most of your customers. You need to think through this. Are most of your clients and customers, are they coming from social media, your Instagram? Are they coming from a Facebook group you created? Are they coming from a masterclass that you have that goes, a regular masterclass that you do? Or maybe you do live streams like this. Are they coming from that? You just need to evaluate where they're coming from. And if you don't know, you have these clients and customers, you don't know where they're coming from, develop some type of survey or talk to them and ask them, how did you hear about me? Where are you from? Where did you come from? Pretty much. And that will help you. And then once you figure out what your major lead sources are, double down and do more of it, right? So some people don't even realize all their leads, if they're very consistent and very good on social media, like their IG page, they're very good on posting and things like that, and most people find them on Instagram, you need to double down and make sure your Instagram is like your primary, where you put a lot of time into. Maybe you have a text list. If it's that, then you need to focus on that, but you need to know. And sometimes we don't know what we don't know because we don't ask the question. So that's the thing. So know your customer channels, where most of your, and we're going to talk about this next week, actually, and think through it, ask them, and then double down on what works. And the last one, have a great system for capturing and following your leads. This is where a lot of people drop the ball. A lot of people drop the ball because it makes you have to be organized for this. So you guys know last month I talked about marketing systems and sales systems. So this was under sales system, HubSpot, like a CRM, customer relationship management system, or at minimum an email autoresponder, meaning you have like a MailChimp ConvertKit or something like that you can email out at least the people and see out of those emails who's opening them and things like that. But I think depending on your type of business, like if you're doing client facing business, let's say you're a consultant or a coach or something like that, this is a good way to follow your leads. So for somebody like that, let's say you're a coach. So your leads might come through a program that you did, or your leads might come through a masterclass, maybe a free masterclass, and they join your Facebook group, or they get your lead magnet, whatever. That's a lead. And so you need to decide how you're going to capture. You did the capture, how you're going to follow them, how you're going to nurture them. So you just have to have a good system for that. Now, the reason why I say email autoresponder, because if it's somebody that gets your lead magnet, there should be emails that you're sending them, just a sequence of emails that everybody gets. And I haven't talked a lot about email marketing because I know a lot about it, but I don't ever have the time to actually sit down and do it for myself. But what the idea is having sequences that email funnels, essentially, that when the person enters the top of your funnel, meaning that they engage with you, they get your lead magnet, there's an email that they get sent. They get maybe a welcome email thanking them for getting the thing that you gave them, your lead magnet. And then there might be, this is how you follow me, this is how you do. And then there's a call to action for the next step of the thing they need to do. And then maybe 2 days later, they get another email with some more valuable information, and then another call to action, next step, or maybe a tripwire or something. You offer them something to purchase, so that is what I'm talking about. And that's how, if you have your systems in order, and I know some of us are working on it, I'm working on it myself. When you have these things in order, you have a system thing and you get good at it. So everybody gets these 5 emails, and you have tripwires and products and things all throughout those emails that people could possibly buy, and you don't have to do anything, because it's already done for you. So that's why I'm talking about being organized system for your actual leads. And so that's one way. And then the other way is if you're literally client facing, meaning that you talk to your clients, you're getting the work. This is similar to what I'm doing in my new line of business with writing and helping people self-publish. You have to actively market and pitch, right? So you're actively going out and getting people. So you create a lead list. For me, on that side of the business is mostly B2B, business to business. So you create a list of people that might need your services and you call them, right? And you pitch yourself, you pitch what you do. And, when I say pitch, that means you're telling them what you do and you're saying why they need you as a service provider for them. And so that's active. So that's a little bit different depending on the type of work that you do. You can literally do that in any type of work, but it's more geared to those that are providing services for people. You find a company, or maybe you look at a certain industry. I know I target marketing businesses because they need writers and they need business writing. So you can look at those. I can get a list of those individuals. Like the clients that I have now are those individuals. So you look at those individuals and maybe you want to stay local, or however you need to actually buy a list of things, and you actively market, send them emails, call, whatever you do, send them direct mail, and that's what people do. That's the basics of selling and marketing. So I think we all need to know how to market. I think we all need to know how to pitch, because at minimum, you should be pitching yourself to get in front of other people's audiences so you can expand your brand. That's brand awareness as well. And that's organic, because you don't pay for that. You don't pay to get on a podcast. You don't pay to do a presentation for somebody's, like a live stream for somebody's group, or get an interview or stuff. You don't pay for that. So, and the other part of that is you have to be active with this, because closed mouths don't get fed. So you got to be okay with sharing what you do, having a marketing collateral, not necessarily brochures, but something that says what you do, a website, stuff like that. So that is my 5 keys to customer acquisition. We are right on time. And so we're going to be talking through all of those throughout the month. And then we're also going to be talking through our strategies in our last 2 live lessons, where your leads come from, customer acquisition strategy, where they come from. So we'll hit on social media posting. We'll hit on Facebook groups, Facebook ads. And I believe in Facebook ads to warm leads, people that have connected with you in some way, shape, or form, liked your page or something. Because if you have not a lot of money to spend, you need to spend the money on stuff that's going to work. And getting cold traffic it's hard to convert cold traffic. And some people might not say that. Some people love cold traffic, but it's easier to convert a warm lead or warm traffic, people that are already have seen you before. It don't have to be super warm. They don't have to even buy from you, but it's easier to convert somebody that has already bought from you, which is warm, which is really hot, but somebody that's already engaged with your brand than somebody that doesn't know you from Adam. And that's sales 101. So Facebook ads to warm leads, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about another strategy, referrals, which some people don't do anything else but get referral business. Hey, but if you're that good, you can do it, right? We'll talk about getting in front of another platform's audience, which is really, really good. And then finally, we'll talk about your network. You can get leads and things from your own personal network. But of course, you're going to have to vet them. It's not just, my mom and them, my sister, and they have to actually be part of your ideal client network. Like they would be, even though you know them and you're friends with them or whatever, they are literally your ideal participant, your ideal client. So hopefully that makes sense. You guys that joined a little bit later, make sure you jump back and go back to the beginning. We talked about the customer acquisition. We talked about what we're going to talk about this whole month, all about these strategies. Mastery folks will go deeper with these strategies and really how to implement them and what works for you and your lifestyle. Because some of these things are going to work for you because you're like, I got kids, I got this, I got that. So I can't do this intense strategy. So we'll talk through that. And let me see, and then for your spiritual development, we're talking about grace, how you're graced for this, how to attract your, or how to minister and find the people that are called to you in your business. So we'll talk about that. And I think that's it. We got Memorial Day at the end of the month. So Thank you guys so much. You guys know after I do this, I typically jump to my other platform, God Still Heals. And over there, we're talking about walking with God. So if that's of interest to you, you can jump over there. And I think that's it. Thank you guys for watching. And we will be back next week with discovering and defining where your customer lives. So that's talking about customer channels and systems. So thank you guys. Let me get my stuff together. Okay. Thank you guys so much. And I will talk to you next week. Have a good one. Bye.